My dear child, you almost didn't. You stood at the edge of it, turned around twice, convinced yourself it was too hard, too scary, too much. And yet here you are, on the other side of the decision, in the middle of the doing. Dear heart, I need you to hear something that might not feel true yet, but is. I'm proud of you. Not for getting it perfect, not for doing it flawlessly, not for having it all figured out before you started. I'm proud of you for starting it all, for choosing the harder thing when the easier thing was right there, familiar, comfortable, for walking toward what scared you instead of away from it. That took something more than you're giving yourself credit for. Beloved, you've been measuring this by the wrong standard. You've been looking at how far you still have to go instead of how far you've already come. You've been focused on what's still messy, still uncertain, still unfinished. But I'm looking at something else. I'm looking at the fact that you showed up, that you didn't let the fear win, that you took the step even though your hands were shaking. That matters more than you know. My child, I know what it cost you to do this. The sleep you lost, the conversations you had to have, the comfort you had to release, the old version of yourself you had to say goodbye to in order to make room for who you're becoming. None of that was easy, and you didn't do it because it felt good. You did it because it was necessary, because something in you knew, even when you wanted to deny it, that staying where you were was no longer an option, that the cost of remaining the same had become greater than the cost of changing. And so you moved uncertain, afraid, but willing. And that willingness, precious one, is everything. You've been waiting for someone to notice, to acknowledge the weight of what you're carrying, to see that this thing you're doing, this boundary you set, this truth you spoke, this pattern you broke, it wasn't small. It was monumental. Not to the outside world, maybe. They might not understand why it was such a big deal. They might not see the years of conditioning you had to unlearn, the voices you had to quiet, the guilt you had to wade through. But I see it. I see every internal battle, every moment you almost backed down, every time you had to choose yourself, when you've been taught that choosing yourself is selfish. It's not selfish. It's sacred. Beloved family, we continue this mission quietly, with faith, even when it is not easy. If God places it on your heart to support this work, you can find the link is in the description and comment box. Every small act of support carries this message forward. Dear heart, you've spent so much of your life trying to earn approval, trying to be good enough, useful enough, selfless enough to deserve love. And doing this thing, this hard, brave thing, it goes against everything you were taught to believe about your worth. You were taught that your value comes from pleasing others, from making things easy for them, from not causing trouble, from shrinking yourself so they could stay comfortable. And when you did this, when you set the boundary, when you walked away, when you said no, when you chose what was right for you even though it disappointed someone, you dismantled that entire belief system. You declared, without saying a word, that your needs matter, that your peace matters, that your life is yours to steward, not theirs to dictate. And I am so proud of you for that. Beloved, I know you're still questioning it, still wondering if you did the right thing, still feeling the guilt that rises up when you think about the people who didn't understand, who pushed back, who made you feel like you were being unreasonable. Let me tell you something. Their discomfort is not proof you were wrong. Their resistance is not evidence you made a mistake. When you change, when you grow, when you stop allowing what used to be normal, it disrupts things. It disrupts the dynamics that relied on your silence. It disrupts the relationships that only worked when you didn't have boundaries. It disrupts the version of you that everyone got comfortable with. And that disruption, it's supposed to happen. Not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because you're trying to live honestly. And honest living doesn't fit into spaces built on pretending. Precious one, what you're doing right now, it's not just about this one decision. It's about reclaiming yourself. Reclaiming your voice after years of being told it was too much, too loud, too inconvenient. Reclaiming your energy after years of pouring it out for everyone else and having nothing left for yourself. Reclaiming your right to take up space, to have needs, to exist without apology. And that work, that deep, holy work, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in moments like this. Moments when you choose differently than you used to. Moments when you honor yourself instead of abandoning yourself to keep the peace. Every time you do that, you're building something. Not a wall, a foundation. A foundation of self-respect, of self-trust, of the kind of inner stability that doesn't crumble when someone is upset with you. My child, I need you to understand something. Doing this thing, this hard, necessary thing, it doesn't make you selfish. It makes you whole. Whole people have boundaries. Whole people know their limits. Whole people understand that saying yes to themselves isn't the same as saying no to love. It's actually the opposite. When you honor yourself, you're finally able to love others from a place of fullness instead of depletion. You're able to give freely instead of out of obligation. You're able to be present instead of resentful. And the people who truly love you, they'll see that. They might not understand it at first. They might need time to adjust. But eventually, they'll see that the version of you who sets boundaries, who speaks truth, who honors their own needs, that version is healthier, more grounded, more authentically them. And the people who don't see that, the ones who only want you when you're small, compliant, self-sacrificing to the point of harm, those aren't your people. And releasing them, or letting them release you, is part of the process. It hurts. I know it does. But it's also necessary. Dear heart, you've been afraid that doing this means you're not enough. That if you were stronger, braver, more spiritually mature, you wouldn't need boundaries. You wouldn't need space. You wouldn't need to protect yourself. But that's not true. Boundaries aren't a sign of weakness. They're a sign of wisdom. They're not about shutting people out. They're about honoring what you're able to hold and what you're not. And knowing that difference, knowing when to say yes and when to say no, that's not failure. That's maturity. Beloved, I see how hard you've been on yourself, how you replay the moment over and over, analyzing every word, every reaction, wondering if you could have done it differently, better, kinder. But here's what I want you to know: you did it the best way you could in that moment. You didn't have a script. You didn't have a manual. You just had your truth and your courage and your willingness to speak. And that was enough. It didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be real. And it was precious. When doing this thing, whatever it was for you, it changed something in you. You might not feel it yet. The change is quiet, subtle, but it's there. In the way you stand a little taller. In the way you second-guess yourself a little less. In the way you're learning to trust your own voice instead of constantly looking outside yourself for permission. That's growth. Not the loud, celebrated kind. The deep-rooted kind. The kind that doesn't announce itself, but transforms everything. My child, there's something I want you to remember on the hard days. The days when the guilt feels overwhelming. When the doubt creeps back in. When you wonder if you made a terrible mistake. Remember, this growth always feels uncomfortable before it feels right. Change always feels destabilizing before it feels like home. And doing the thing that's best for you will almost always feel selfish at first, especially if you've spent your whole life prioritizing everyone else. But just because it feels wrong doesn't mean it is. Sometimes the healthiest choice feels the most unfamiliar, and you have to give yourself time to adjust to it. To get used to the new shape of your life, to let your nervous system catch up to the decision your heart made. That takes time, and I'm not rushing you, dear heart. I know you're tired. Tired from the emotional labor of doing this. Tired from defending your decision to people who don't understand. Tired from holding your ground when everything in you wants to fold just to make things easier. But please don't fold. Not because I need you to be strong, but because you've come too far to go back now. And going back, undoing what you did, returning to the old way, it wouldn't bring you peace. It would only bring you a different kind of pain. The pain of betraying yourself, of knowing you had the courage to choose differently and didn't. That pain is worse than the discomfort of growth. So stay the course. Not perfectly, not without wobbling, but stay. Keep choosing yourself. Keep honoring your truth. Keep trusting that the voice inside you that said this needed to happen, that voice was right. Beloved, I want to tell you something about the future, not in some mystical prophetic way, just in the honest, grounded way. This thing you did, this hard, brave thing, it opened a door to a version of your life where you're no longer constantly managing other people's emotions, where you're no longer walking on eggshells, where you're no longer shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. That door is open now, and what's on the other side is freedom, not the absence of responsibility, but the presence of alignment. The kind of life where your choices reflect your values, where your relationships are mutual, where your energy goes toward things that actually matter to you. You're walking toward that, one step at a time, one hard decision at a time, one moment of courage at a time. And I'm walking with you, precious one. I know you've been looking for a sign that you did the right thing, some external confirmation that this was worth it. But the confirmation doesn't always come from the outside. Sometimes it comes from the inside, from the quiet sense of relief when you realize you're not carrying what you used to, from the small moments when you notice you didn't apologize for something that didn't need an apology, from the mornings when you wake up and the heaviness is a little lighter than it used to be. That's the confirmation. Not fireworks, just peace. Gradual, emerging, hard-won peace. Dear child, I want you to know that I see you. Not just the decision you made, but the person you're becoming because of it. The person who's learning that love doesn't require self-abandonment. The person who's discovering that their worth isn't measured by how much they endure. The person who's realizing that they can be both kind and boundaried, both compassionate and self-protected. That person is emerging, and I am so proud of who they're becoming. Dear heart, this isn't the end of the hard part. There will still be moments when you doubt, when you're tempted to go back, when the old patterns call to you because they're familiar. But each time that happens, you'll have a choice, and I believe you'll keep choosing what's true, what's healthy, what honors the life you're building. Not because it's easy, but because you've tasted what it's like to choose yourself. And once you've tasted that, it's hard to go back to settling. Beloved, I'm proud of you for doing the thing that scared you, for honoring the truth even when it was hard, for choosing your peace over their comfort. I'm proud of you for showing up to your own life instead of just surviving it. And I want you to be proud too, not in an arrogant way, but in a quiet, grounded way, in the way that says, I did something hard and I'm still standing. You are still standing, still growing, still becoming, and that, precious one, is more than enough. So rest now in the knowing that you're exactly where you need to be, not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally choosing yourself. And that choice, that brave, beautiful, necessary choice, changes everything. Amen. Beloved family, your support is more than help. It is faith in action. Because of you, these messages continue to reach hearts. May the Lord bless you, guide you, and stand with you in every season.